Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is almost like a pre-introduction to the introduction, and the reason for that is I feel this week I have been ripped off. So I've had to make changes to the clips I'd recorded previous to the to this bit here toward the end of the week, only because I've named the garage and it's not in my style to plaster it all out over YouTube as to who's done the work, but I will explain as to why I think I've been ripped off. And the reason for obviously editing the clips is so that no one can be named. But yeah, I just feel like they've tried to take me to the cleaners. It's to do with a car that I've sold to someone a little bit of a distance away, and they've had to have a little bit of work done. And it really is minuscule things. And it just seems to be that I've ended up with an enormous bill for things that I didn't even ask for. But you kind of feel like you have to do it because obviously the car's been in their workshops, but I'll explain it later in the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I can see an enormous amount of people that watch our channel, and I always appreciate the views and the support, but they don't actually subscribe at the moment. So if you just click that button, it's a huge help for all of us, and I really hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. Starting the video a day earlier today, so I'm in on a beautiful sunny Sunday, and it really is a beautiful sunny Sunday, because we have a chap coming in tomorrow who's placed a deposit on the Range Rover, the black 4.4 SDV8 Range Rover with the body kit on, which obviously had some work done throughout the week and is now ready mechanically. But I wanted to come in today to polish it, to make sure that it looks absolutely right for when the customer comes tomorrow morning. I've got the Festival of Speed feed on. There's some absolutely monstrous cars out there this year. It's really, really quite cool. I was meant to go 2 years ago, I think it was, but it was the weekend where it got called off on a Saturday for the weather, and I only had a Saturday ticket, so I was really gutted about that, but it is something that I want to go to at some point. I am going to the Revival, which is happening later this year, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, we've got the boys in. We're in on a Sunday. I've just washed the Range Rover, so that is now drying, because obviously we want nice clean paintwork before we take a polisher to it. So that's now just drying in the sun. I'll bring the Porsche back. It's not too bad by any means. I just want to make sure that it is nice and polished, which will obviously take a couple of hours, but I just think it's worth it for making sure that car is what it needs to be. And so yeah, in on the Sunday. Also had my my trip to Bristol yesterday. Relatively heavy on traffic, but wasn't too bad timing wise to get the red Range Rover back to my customers. They're really quite happy with that, which is good. And then of course I've got my Discovery 4 back into my stock now, which is already getting a bit of traction online. Quite a few people are saving it to their auto traders, etc. So hopefully that one won't hang around for too long. But yeah, really glad that we did do that extra bit of work on that red Range Rover to make sure we're future-proofing it as much as we possibly can. That's not to say it won't ever go wrong, but it's less likely to go wrong in the ACE system, that's for sure. So yeah, in on a Sunday, but it happens quite often, and I don't mind it because I quite enjoy polishing. Well, I appreciate the finished result. It does take a little bit of time to do, but we'll let that drip dry, bring it into the showroom, get to polishing. Almost too warm to be doing this, but that is the first cut done, and the paintwork looks fantastic. I should have tried to get some before bits, but there's some Devon Rash, as we call it, but that is now looking like a mirror finish. But of course, we do have to go over it with a finer cut now. So I've got to do that whole thing again with a finer cut. And it's a new one I'm trying. It's called Evo Ultra Anti-Hologram. Not tried it before, but it's the same manufacturer as the stuff that I've just used. So I'm hoping it can be pretty good because that stuff was brilliant. But yeah, I mean, it's looking absolutely excellent all around on the paintwork. Very, very pleased with it. Like a mirror finish, but it's important that we do that next bit. It shouldn't take as long, to be fair, because that's almost like the hard, gritty stuff, which is a little bit harder to work with a thicker pad, a more stern pad, and a little bit harder to get the polish off as well. But the lighter stuff, the thinner stuff, should be a lot easier. But it's important that you do it, because otherwise, when we bring it out into the sun, you might see some haziness or some, as they say, the hologram side of things on the paintwork. It looks great in here. It might be a different story as you go outside. Eddie's just as excited for me as I am to do it. So yeah, I won't film the next bit. You'll be watching me do the exact same thing, but I have to do it all over again with that finer cut, just to make sure that it is what it needs to be. And then I think we'll go home and get a barbecue on. And there we have it. So I've been here for just over 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon, but I am very, very pleased with the result. Obviously had to give it a pre-wash first, but the paintwork, there's Eddie. The paintwork is looking mirror finish. Really quite nice stuff to work with. The finer detailing stuff that I was just using there. Easy to work into the paint, and then easy to wipe off at the end of it as well. So I am really pleased. Sent a little video over to my customer who reserved the Range Rover. He's rather excited. It's going to be here first thing tomorrow morning, so I'm going to be in nice and early, give it the interior just a last little bit of a clean, doesn't need much, and make sure we get some fuel in it. I'm going to keep it in overnight, because after it's just been polished, I like to keep the paintwork nice and cool. Just because if there is anything that needs to be wiped off in the morning, it's not going to be baked on by the sun. But it's all looking really, really good. So yeah, really pleased with that. Just a cool car to begin with, because obviously it's the 4.4 SDV8 engine, which is a bit of a rarity to have in the sports. Hasn't done that many of a mileage, given the age. It's 2015, done 80,000 miles with a lovely service history all throughout. I've actually done a video on prepping this car from the first time around that we had it. It's on our channel, so if you wanted to see what it was like when it first came in, it is quite a transformation in terms of what we did with the prep. But yeah, gonna go home, get a barbecue on now, and we'll pick up in the morning. It is now Monday afternoon. Again, I haven't really had the opportunity to pick up the camera much today. Came in early doors this morning, as I said I would. Give the interior of the Range Rover a good clean. My customer made really good time on their journey. Today we're here at about 8:30, and then obviously really like the car, so they decided to go ahead with the purchase, which is always good news, and obviously everything that we have our fingers crossed for, that everyone's happy in the transaction. So that went really well. He was really impressed with the paintwork as well, because obviously we spent a lot of time yesterday doing the polishing and everything, and yeah, he complimented that, so that's always good. And then he admired obviously the metallicness of this SVO premium palette blue Range Rover that we got in stock, which I'm sure you've seen from previous videos as well, because that is a special option paint, so he liked the look of that, but obviously wanted that 4.4 SDV8 engine, which obviously that had. So yeah, he's really quite pleased. Made the journey home, texted me to say he loved the drive, so that was always really good news. And then we've also taken the Land Rover Discovery 4, so if you're familiar with last week's video, needed a bit of bodywork doing on the rear end, so we've taken that to the body shop. And to be fair, I was with the chap who does our bodywork, and he's just bought this really cool new paint mixing machine, so he showed me a bit about that, because I think I'm always fascinated with stuff like that, and it was awesome. Showed me how he does all the measurements of the different paint. You can even choose the metallic flake that's inside it and everything. It's very, very clever stuff. So yeah, that was really quite cool. We've cleaned the cars in the forecourt. We've done some more social media posts, more specifically with this SVO autobiography, because every time I sit in that car, I love it. I think it's so cool. I was actually sat in the rear of it today, and the tech in it is absolutely amazing. The door card on the rear passenger door is heated, which is just bizarre, because we were looking through the screens as what the options are and stuff. To have that is absolutely amazing. And then obviously the center armrest that comes down in the middle as well is heated. You've got a footrest, a leg bit that comes up and everything as well. It's yeah, really wicked bit of kit. So we did a bit of a social media push on that as well. Had a bit of a change around on the forecourt, just I like to freshen it up, make sure things don't stick for too long, reassess some of the pricing that we've done as well. I haven't changed anything yet. I'm going to think about it overnight as to what I want to do, because obviously I don't really want to drop prices, but some bits are starting to stick a little bit, so I'm going to have a look into those. But really pleased with every bit of stock that we have. There's nothing that I'm really too concerned about, but of course we want to just keep it moving. Also had an inquiry from someone in the Midlands on the Discovery 4, the one that I've taken to the workshops, because obviously it's a one owner from new, only done 48,000 miles with the most tremendous service history, so it's always going to generate a fair few inquiries. Hopefully one of those of course turns into a sale, so I don't anticipate I'll have that for an enormous amount of time. But it's things like this red Boxster. We've actually done a video of this one as well on our YouTube, and I love the car. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Each time I jump in it I think, why am I still looking at it on the forecourt? It looks great in the guards red. I know it's not the most massive spec, but it is really well priced for a 2019 car that has only done 18,000 miles with 2 keys, lovely history and everything like that. So yeah, confused to why we're still looking at that, but I'm sure it'll find its driveway soon, which would be nice. But yeah, just a good move around on the forecourt. We've ordered some Maxton kit bits for the A-Class, just to spruce it up a little bit, because otherwise, as I said previously, you can almost mistake it sometimes if you don't know what you're looking at. That could be an A180. It's only when you get around to the rear end, CDA 35 badge, see the twin exhaust pipes and the diffuser and bits. So we want to make it look a little bit more aggressive on that front. So hopefully they'll turn up this week, those bits. If not, it'll be into next week. But at least it's the plan in motion. And we've got a couple of bits down at the workshop getting sorted as well. Soph's car's in at the workshop, got a suspension knock, or some kind of track rod end knock or something. So yeah, we're going to get that investigated too. But yeah, all in all, good day, because obviously had a handover go out, which is always nice, and got a couple of decent inquiries to go on with as well. So yeah, pretty good Monday. We'll pick up in the morning. Okay, so it's now Tuesday morning. We've had a bit of an admin morning today, just to get a few bits sorted, some parts ordered, and to also have a catch up with some ongoing things as well. So if you're familiar with the channel, familiar with previous videos, we've got a white Porsche Panamera, which went to a Porsche specialist last week. It's still there this week. And now we've got parts that have arrived from Porsche in Germany. That's what we've been waiting on. Still quite a big job to do the repair. So they've had to kind of wait a couple of days to free up some ramp space to be able to get on with it, basically. But hopefully they'll be starting that today. And as I say in previous episodes, because of the electrical fault on the hybrid system, it's then cutting the power to the aircon compressor. So we might be lucky in a sense if we don't actually have to replace that part, which would be good news for us, because that compressor, we've got it now, but it's about £1,100 plus a VAT. So if we don't have to fit that to the car and we can send it back, then that's good news. But if we need to, then we need to. It is what it is. But we are absolutely going to get the aircon sorted one way or another. But as I say, the parts that we've ordered for the Porsche, there's some like control flow valves for the cooling system. Hopefully that will solve the issues all round, but it is still quite a big job. You have to basically power down the whole high voltage line to be able to do so, because it's about a 400 volt line, 420 volt line, of which obviously it's not going to be good if someone comes into contact with that. So you need the Porsche systems, the HVAC systems, to be actually close it down and then be able to restart it back up once you've changed the parts out. So that's an ongoing thing. We've also got a Range Rover Evoque that we sold to a chap in Bournemouth. That's booked in to go into a workshop tomorrow, just to have a couple of little niggly bits sorted out. So we've been liaising with them to make sure we're all on the same page. So again, not such a bad thing. And then just keeping in contact with customers that have bought cars previously, making sure everything's all good and everyone's all happy. We've also brought the SVO autobiography back into the showroom. We're going to give it another interior clean. Because of what it is, because of the spec it has, we get quite a few people that want to sit inside it and have a look. Some are serious, some maybe not. You know, they just want to see what a nice car is. And then we're going to sort out a couple of bits on it as well. I'm going to give it a polish. This one's going to be hard to pick up on the camera because it's really not bad by any means. See if I can get some of the... there's a little bit of hedge rash on here, coming over to the door. It's it's definitely not bad by any means. We've had far worse, but given that it is an SVO autobiography, a very special Range Rover and not cheap, we like to make sure that it is what it needs to be. So we're going to get that done, and we're also going to book it in to have the alloys done as well. Again, they're really not bad. That one doesn't need anything doing at all. There's a couple around, so lack of peel is a little bit on here. So we're going to get them redone. I think there's one on this side which is slightly worse, so we've got lack of peel there. As I say, just given the price tag with the car and the way that we like to prep them, we're going to get that booked in. But I love the car. It is absolutely stunning. Just going to give it another interior clean and another polish. As I say, people like to sit in. That's the footrest down on that side. So we're just going to make sure it is what it needs to be. So taking the opportunity whilst we can to do these bits. And then Valentine, who's our body shop chap, he's going to be done with the Discovery later, so we'll go and collect that. And then hopefully Soph's car will also be done, so we can go and collect that as well. So yeah, a bit more of a catch-up day, an admin day, which is good. I like those when they come along, not quite so hectic. And yeah, hopefully we get some inquiries. We always like to have inquiries. So yeah, that's kind of Tuesday. Okay, so it is now Wednesday afternoon. Again, had a bit more of an admin morning this morning. So it's a little Evoque that's gone into there. A little bit of investigation work that's been carried out there. So one of the rear door actuators needs replacing. Quite a common thing on those. That's absolutely fine. He also had a dynamic mode fault coming up onto his centre dash as well. We have seen it previously, and it's not mega common, but it's common enough to have obviously seen it previously, and they've obviously seen it too. And then we've also done, I've done a video on the Range Rover, like a standalone YouTube video on that SVA autobiography, because that is an absolutely stunning car. So that's going to come out over the weekend at some point. So yeah, if you fancy watching that, then please do. And then we've also got the Land Rover Discovery back from the body shop. I mentioned previously in last week's video there was a little bit on this corner here, so he's done an absolutely fantastic job in getting that obviously to what it needs to be. But there was something that I had missed, and it's almost embarrassing because when I'd seen it, it's then all I could focus on the car. It was this panel here. I'll show you a clip of what it was like now, and I can't believe that I missed it, to be honest with you. But I guess when ordinarily inspecting cars, you're looking almost eye level and below, and I'm not the tallest of people, and this is quite a tall car, so it didn't really register to look up here because it's unusual to get damage up on this bit. But it happened, and it happened before we'd bought it even, so it's not even like it happened within our possession, because I looked at the original photos and the original video walk around that we did on this car, and it is there, it's plain as day. No one's mentioned it, no one's seen it, well I hope they haven't, but that's no excuse to obviously not get it done. So we got it done, but the plan is now to wash this car, to then re-photograph and redo the video. We've only got to do the external bits, because obviously the interior video and the interior photos, they're still all good. But I want it to be, obviously, it's so glaringly obvious once you see it, and then I don't want it to be obviously putting people off. But he does an absolutely tremendous job, our body shop. He's ever so good. Relatively short notice to drop it into him, because we do supply him with quite a lot of work, and he's always very happy to see us. But yeah, we'll get this washed up now to then re-photograph and get it uploaded onto the advert. Looking loads better. Really am pleased with the photos again on the Disco. I think it was just definitely worth doing, because as I say, once I'd seen it once, I couldn't not see it on the car, and it'd be the same for people looking at the photos too. So the fact that that's all done makes me feel much better, and it is genuinely a lovely car, so I can't imagine I'll hang on to it for too long. Also been talking with Max this afternoon, and if you're familiar with the channel, Max is a trader that I deal with regularly. So bought a car from him. which we'll be picking that up next week. So be sure to obviously hit that subscribe button to then watch next week's video, where we get some really nice stock come through. I am genuinely excited about it. I've not had one of these before either. Going through a bit of a phase of that at the moment. We've had variants of it, but not this particular one. So yeah, looking forward to getting that one into stock, which would be really quite nice. But yeah, really pleased with all of the stock that's on the forecourt. I had a chap pop in earlier. He's been in a few times now, looking at the Range Rovers, both the hybrid one and also the 3-litre diesel one. He prefers the hybrid. He's waiting on a boat sale, so whether that happens or not, I don't know. Apparently he's got a couple of people that are interested in it, but he's absolutely keen that he is going to have a Range Rover, and he drives past 3 times a week, so it would be nice if he did buy one from us, but never know. And then obviously Soph's cars down at the workshops, had the suspension wishbone done and also a track rod end done, but whilst he was doing that job, noticed that the front pads were running a little low, so we're going to get those done at the same time. May as well, it's on the ramp, and just saves having to go back into the workshops. So yeah, pretty productive Wednesday. As I say, really pleased with how the discoveries come up. Just can't believe I missed it for the first few days, and then when I saw it, it's all I could see on that car. So yeah, new photos are looking really good, and it's pretty good weather for photos, because you don't have to worry about shadow or anything like that. It's dry, obviously, and when it's really sunny, some paint like that metallic one really does come out, the SVO premium blue. But in other cars, it's quite nice to not have to battle with the shadow. So yeah, pretty good Wednesday, and hopefully get a few more inquiries overnight to go on with later in the week. So it's now Thursday afternoon, and here I was kind of enjoying my week, where it's a little bit easier going, opportunities to catch up on a few bits that we've been meaning to get going with, and don't get me wrong, that's all going fine. But then spoke to the specialist that has that Porsche Panamera that I mentioned, and the bill is racking up. So the overheating issue has now been sorted, which is good news. Needed a coolant pump for the hybrid system, and also a 3-to-2 valve, which essentially is 3 coolant pipes going into 2, but controlled via a valve. So it's not just a clever name. And then, so they says the overheating thing's good. That's all fine. Now onto the aircon compressor side of things, as to why the air conditioning isn't working. So they say we still don't want to fit that compressor at the moment, because there is another electrical like servo valve kind of thing further up the line, which controls the flow of the gas and stuff. That there was a nice bike and bike. That there seems to be blowing fuses. It's almost like it's stuck shut, which then overloads the system, blows the fuse, aircon compressor cuts out. So that's an ongoing thing on that side of it, which they've had to order another part, which is then coming from Porsche Germany, but that won't be here for potentially 10 days. So real pain in the backside is the honest truth of it. And the bill at the moment, so even before we fitted the £1,100 compressor, so just at the moment in terms of parts and also labour, we're up to £2,471. Real headache. Nothing anyone can do about it. It says it almost looks like someone's kind of done the diagnosis before we've had that car, which I guess is part and parcel of dealing in these second-hand cars. Is sometimes people get rid of them because of that issue. They know it's going to be an expensive fix, so they move it on, but that doesn't mean that I can then shed responsibility myself just because someone else has had a look at it previously. So it's now down to us. It's got to be fixed either way. I've obviously let the customer know what the latest situation is, and at the moment they're handling it all with just one car, being very, very kind and polite, but obviously we want to keep that going. We don't want it to become a headache for them. So I says, look, you know, you're very welcome to have our courtesy car. We don't have it booked out. What we have is a 2009 Passat Estate, a 2-litre TDI. They're fairly boring, but they're very solid, reliable cars. And I don't want to be a dealership that gives people a Peugeot 107 or a Citroen C1 or something where, yes, it does do the job of getting you from A to B, but there's no real practicality to it. You can't really do anything whilst you don't have your car. So I thought, well, that came in part exchange a little while ago. When it came in, it only had, I don't know, 74,000 miles, something like that. And I just thought it's a 2-litre TDI manual. It's an estate, so it gives great practicality. It's a very usable courtesy car, and it hasn't really caused us any issues at all, really. It's been a really good car. Until that is, of course, today, where Soph's used it. She's just grabbed the keys, gone to go and run a couple of errands, get a couple of bits, And she's come back in saying, oh, the weirdest thing, I've broken down literally outside the showroom. So this is where it's ended up. And all that's happened, it's a bit of a strange one. I'll wait for this van to go by. Bit of a strange one, but you can start it up. Well, I'll show you. So I jump into the car. Ooh, so, gear lever, go into gear, the engine's not running. The clutch pedal, however, if you can see down there, I've obviously not pressed it, it's all the way down to the floor. So if I put the key in, normally when the ignition comes on, it says depress clutch to start, of which I can obviously, the clutch is pressed. So I can start it up, no problems whatsoever. And then whilst the clutch pedal is down, I can no longer get it into gear. So the car has literally broken down outside the showroom and seems to be stuck where it is, which isn't ideal. Because I said to them, look, why don't we drop this courtesy car to you? They're only about 30 or so miles away from us. Says, look, we're very happy for you to have this car whilst we wait for this part to come from Porsche Germany, which is a real pain in the backside for everyone involved. But at least you've got transport, you've got wheels, you can get about, you can keep moving, and we're very happy to do so. And then of course, it's now, I can't move it, I can't put it into gear. If I take the key out, put it into gear and try and start it, it's really like leapfroggy, because it's trying to start whilst in gear and the clutch technically isn't pressed. So yeah, I'm thinking it's something like the master cylinder. Well, not even that, because we had a new master cylinder not too long ago on it, because it was weeping a little bit. So I think it may be the slave cylinder, which I'm hoping is an external part on that system. But it's just another headache really. So Soph's car's all done, had the new brake pads and stuff fitted this morning. So the plan is go and get Soph's car, bring back Matt or Trevor, which are the two techies down at that workshop, and then tow it down. So with the engine running, we've still got brakes, we've still got steering, we just can't get it into gear, which is fine, because obviously with my truck I can put a tow rope on it, onto the tow bar, and we can tow it down to the workshops. And I'm hoping it'll be a really quick and easy fix. If it's a slave cylinder, it is on the external of the gearbox rather than the internal, and we can get it replaced nice and quick, then we will stick with our original plan and get that car to our customers over the other side of Exeter, so that they've got transport. So yeah, as I say, when I was quite enjoying a bit of a catch-up week, nothing too much of a headache, everything was all going kind of well, albeit slightly quieter than I'd like inquiry-wise. But to be fair, I'd completely forgotten there's a lot of schools breaking up this week, or had broken up last week, and the first 2 weeks of any school breakup, car dealers are quiet. It just tends to be the way. I think it's more because obviously they've got priorities elsewhere, so maybe going on holiday or coming up with plans to do with their 6 weeks or whatever it might be. So cars kind of sit on the back burner a minute. So I've kind of forgot that, and it kind of makes sense. It happens every year. People start to panic, don't necessarily need to, because it always comes back around. And we're very fortunate, we've got some lovely cars in, and we own all of them. So there's no real pressures on us to have to hit a certain number every week. Obviously we'd like to, of course everyone would like to, but we've also taken an inquiry on this one here. A chap from further up north has a Jaguar XF to part exchange. He's diving more so into the insurance quotes and things at the moment, to see if he can find something that works for him. Might go nowhere, might go somewhere, we'll find out. We've also got the hybrid Range Rover in the showroom plugged in to charge that up, so of course if anyone comes along they can see obviously we've got the batteries charged and everything like that, all good to go. And we've also had notification that the Maxton bits that we've ordered, the front splitter is on the way to us. That's been dispatched today to hopefully arrive tomorrow, but unfortunately the side skirts are on back order, which is a bit of a pain. And I didn't know what to do about the spoiler, because this one does have this small lip here. Some flowers come off those trees. Does have this small lip here, whilst a lot of them don't. And then they have a big spoiler, big Maxton spoiler that sits on the top of it. I didn't know whether that'd be too much. I think it would be. I think as much as I quite like the subtleness of some body kits, Maxton's spoiler might just be a bit too much for it. You know, it's not a track car at the end of the day, but it is going to make it look a little different. So hopefully the splitter will arrive tomorrow and we'll get that fitted. But yeah, bit of a headache on a Thursday. We're going to get them every now and then. But the next plan is to pick up Soph's car and get the Passat down to the workshops to see what that could be. So this is the part where I feel as if I've been ripped off this week. It's in relation to the Range Rover Evoque, which I've already mentioned within the video. There were a couple of issues, and my customer is a really nice chap and he likes the car, which is all good news. And I want to make it abundantly clear that my main priority is my customer's happiness. I want them to enjoy the car that they purchase from us. But of course, we don't make the cars, and these things can happen. Things can go wrong. It was nothing too sinister in this case as I thought. Some of the options were, or some of the issues were, that the door lock actuator wasn't operating correctly, had a dynamic mode fault come up onto the dash, which could have been in relation as well as a heavy steering as well, and also a media issue. When listening to the radio, it would continuously cut out and eventually stop working altogether, although if you listen to it on Bluetooth or a CD, that doesn't happen. And he is a couple of hours away from the showroom. He did offer initially that we could have the car back whilst we gave him something else, a courtesy car, to look at these issues. But again, I like to keep it as convenient as I can for my customers' sake. I don't want them to have to make unnecessary journeys if they don't need to, so we always try and find somewhere local to them and ask them if they wouldn't mind doing the work for us. So in this instance, I get in touch with the specialist. I explain exactly who I am and that the customer has not long bought a Range Rover Evoque from us. It's a 2014 model, and these are the issues. And the issues that I've already outlined, I relayed to them, of which my customers let me know. I take them at their word. And of course, I understand that they're going to do their own diagnostics when they get it in, because you can't just go on hearsay when you've actually physically got to look at the car. So my customer then drops off the vehicle on the agreed date, of which I'm saying I'm not going to chase people. They're very capable of what they do with their jobs. And the last thing that I would want is people trying to micromanage me, especially someone from a distance when they've, been doing it through a third party. But the thing that grinds my gears a little bit is surely they would know that I'm in the trade, and surely they would know that I would kind of know what's reasonable or what to expect in these kind of transactions. So anyway, left the car with them, of which that was Wednesday, it's Friday today, left it with them Wednesday, and then had a phone call yesterday from the garage. It's the first time I've heard from them. And they tell me that they managed to solve a fair few of the issues. And I says, oh, okay, I didn't realise there were that many. He goes, yeah, well, we've done a full diagnostics, printed out the fault codes and kind of have to work our way through them. And I go, okay, but it's quite often that cars have stored fault codes. It could be something as simple as a low battery's caused it to come on at some stage, or it has to register the fault a few more times in order for it to ping up a light or anything like that. So anyway, they've run a full diagnostics, which is absolutely fine. But what I tend to do is run the full diagnostics, clear it, and then wait to see what comes back. With regards to the media fault, we thought, well, what we'll do is an update on the module. And I says, okay, yeah, fine. That seems to make sense to me. But what they've done is updated every single module within the car. So that's 14 modules that they've updated, and I have to pay for every single one. It's almost like, because I'm paying for it, it doesn't matter too much. It's not the customer's money. When reality is I'm the customer paying near enough a retail price. And so to update all of the modules, it's around £300 just over, which I was a little bit, okay, didn't need to be done. I mean, it is a 2014 Range Rover Evoque, and you can absolutely select individual modules to update should you want to. But anyway, my priority is a happy customer. So if it means they've now got a fully updated car with all the modules done, so be it. And again, we're talking about convenience without having to come all the way back to us, and we can find somewhere local to do it. And then they went on to the door latch issue, of which I've replaced many door latches. It's a very common thing on these Range Rover Evoques and also the Disco Sports, etc. And they went through it and says, yeah, that was £300. And I says, what's happened there then? Like, how is that £300? Says, well, the door latch is £150, and then it's an hour and 3/4 to fit it. I'm thinking to myself, £150 for a door latch. I mean, I always use local reputable parts suppliers, of which you certainly don't have to go back to Genuine for or anything like that. But I mean, the most door latches are Maltings Off-Road, which are the trade people that I use, and even their retail price for a door latch on a Range Rover Evoque, including the VAT, is about £53. So I thought, well, how is it £150 for a door latch, and how has it taken an hour and 3/4 to do so? Because you essentially take the door card off, change out the actuator, unplug it, and then obviously it's got the locking mechanism hooked in, put it back in, put the door card back on. You don't have to code it, you don't have to do anything. It would just plug and play, so to speak, on every single one that we've done. So I thought, well, £300 for a door latch is quite a lot. And it says, yeah, well, that's what we've had to do. Fine. Again, the work's been done. I'm not one to argue afterwards, but that just stung a little bit. And then they went on to tell me about the condition of the car. Bearing in mind it has just been MOT, 12 months MOT with no advisories. It's a full main dealer history throughout on that Range Rover Evoque. Genuinely was a lovely car and done 83,000 miles, saying that it's really, really rusty. I thought, okay, well, it can't be that bad. I'm not doubting that there's surface rust, because there is going to be, especially if the car's from around here, which it is, and we're by the sea air. But it can't be structurally bad because, of course, it's just past its MO2 and no advisories, and that's nothing to do. That's a third-party garage at all times. We have no involvement with it, and we're very prone to the fact that we quite often have advisories on used cars or failures, and we have to put them right before they go out. So absolutely implicitly trust my MOT station's done the right thing and passed it as it should be with no advisories. So anyway, that continued on, and then we're going into the dynamic mode fault. And what they've suggested the dynamic mode could be in relation to is the ride height sensor. And again, that's a very common part to have to do on any kind of Range Rover. It just is. And we've replaced many of them previously. And it says, yeah, so that'll be about £150 for the part and an hour to fit. And I'm thinking to myself, that seems ludicrous to me, because whenever I've had a ride height sensor previously, and again, I've checked on Molting's website, and their retail price on a ride height sensor is about £30. And to fit it is genuinely about 10 minutes. So I'm thinking, well, I hope you haven't done that yet. And they said, well, we haven't had the opportunity to, because your customer wants to come and collect their car. They need their car back. We've had it for 2 days, so we'll have to rebook them in. And I've gone, right, okay. So then they said, well, yeah, that's the reason for the phone call, is obviously we'll need the bill settled before your customer collects the car. That's completely fair enough. I've got no queries with that. And I'd like to make it clear, I really don't question the workmanship that they've carried out. I'm sure they're very, very good at what it is that they do, but the price of the price of the parts that they've given to me just seems kind of ludicrous, and also the timescales to do these things also seems ludicrous. So yesterday I paid a bill of £770 something. So I haven't even had an invoice come through from them yet after I've made this payment, because of course I didn't want to make a hold up for my customer to collect their car. They needed their car back, that's fine, and I'm not going to fall out with the garage about it. I just always question as to why they do it. So I paid £770 for a car to have a new door lock actuator and all of the modules updated, which seemed unnecessary to me. To be fair, they did calibrate the steering rack. That had been replaced recently via Roger Young, I can only assume, because obviously it has the full main dealer service history, but apparently it needed recalibrating, and that does happen occasionally. So we've got a lot of the issues sorted, but then when my customer's gone to collect the car, they've told him that it's really rusty underneath, and of course no one wants to hear that their car's really rusty, and that we couldn't quite get around to the dynamic fault thing. And I'm thinking, okay, well, now I have to kind of jump back in and take control of it again, and have the conversation with my customer. Like, I really wanted it to be a convenience to you and a convenience to me. I haven't got to worry about you coming back to our workshops, and we can get them done near you, but that hasn't worked out to be the case. So we're now having to make alternative plans with my customer to get the vehicle back to us so that we can regain control. It's just a real shame we have to do that. It didn't have to be that way by any means. I think like if everyone was just kind of sensible within the scenario, with these parts that I've listed for Molting's Off-Road, they all come with at least 2 years warranty. They are good, reputable trade sellers for parts, so I would have had no issues at all with them. And I understand they've got to earn their little bit on the parts as well. Most people put about 10% on, and I would have been paying, as I say, near retail prices, but that's just kind of ludicrous. And to pay £770 is an enormous part of your margin in that Range Rover. And we've not yet finished, because of course my customer's concerned about the rust, and quite rightly so, and I don't want him to have that concern because someone's told him from a professional point of view that the car is rusty. So we're going to have to get that car back to us. We've booked him in already, and we're going to get a full underbody treatment carried out, so to get it all sealed, to make sure that the customer's happy, and of course try and get this ride height sensor / rear shock issue sorted. So they also mentioned it could be the rear shock, and I didn't even get to the price point of that, because I thought, well, if you're going to charge me £150 for a ride height sensor when it's genuinely £37 on this here, yeah, £37, I thought, and that again comes with a 2-year warranty and everything. I thought, I don't really want to know what the price of the shock is. It winds me up to the point where it could have just been so easy, and I didn't have to be rinsed, for them to still earn some money, for my customer to be happy, and for everyone involved to not have to do a big faff around. But again, this isn't the only instance of it. Another one that comes to mind was one recently where I had sold a lovely Range Rover Sport, a 68 plate Range Rover Sport, to a couple down in Cornwall. Their part exchange, which is BMW 420D, actually came into our stock range. And it's a garage that they've obviously used regularly because there was quite a lot of their invoices in with the BMW. So I thought, okay, well, if you know and you trust that garage to do a good job, get it booked in with them and we will foot the bill. We always make it aware that, you know, we are paying for it because it is a warranty job and we fund our own warranties, of which then obviously we get the bill come through, and I'm a little bit confused because I have previous bills, and about 5 weeks before this window regulator had been fitted, we had a bill for the 420D for having a tie rod end done or something like that, and the labour rate had gone up £20 plus the VAT an hour just because it was me paying for it and not them. And I thought, well, again, that doesn't make any sense to me. I thought we were all in the trade, all trying to earn a bit of money. No one does business for free, and I get that. But we're all just trying to make a living, and it seems to be that we're the ones that get the bad rep, even though we're the ones that are having to foot the bills for garages that are just putting the prices up for no apparent reason. So yes, I do feel like sometimes we're at the mercy of an independent garage, which is, again, I understand that I lose an element of control. I just don't expect to be rinsed quite like that. That was my moan for this video. And we've actually got some better news to be getting on with. The better news is, and a very lovely way to end the Friday, the Discovery 4 that I knew would hang around for long. We had an appointment on it earlier this morning, and that is now sold. There's a lovely older couple coming from Cornwall. He's got a 2016 Isuzu D-Max to part exchange. Just a white pickup truck, relatively boring, not something that we necessarily go on with. But he's decided that he wanted the Discovery 4, and of course wanted this one because of what it is. Lovely low mileage, full history, lovely condition, etc. So yeah, really happy with that. We're going to deliver it to him next week once it's had its MOT and its service, and of course we'll bring the pickup truck back in the hopes that we'll trade that out and get what we paid for that. So yeah, pretty good deal to finish the week on, which is nice. But as I mentioned, it's always a bit of a funny week, this one, because kids break up from school, so people's priorities are elsewhere. So when we get a sale, it is always nice. And we have also had a delivery from Maxton, which is the front splitter on the A-Class. So we're going to get that fitted now. And there it is. The Maxton splitter is fitted to the A35. It's not my style, if I'm totally honest, but there are certain cars that it does work on, and I think the A35 is one of them. It's one of those cars that now that that's on there, it might generate a bit more interest. There's a few on the market that have a similar type kit, whether it's Maxton or not. Some do, some don't. It's a shame the side skirts didn't turn up at the same time as the front splitter, but to be fair, I don't think I could be fitting the side skirts anyway, just because obviously where I jack it up from and put the axle stands in, I'm not sure I'd get enough of a clearance to be able to fit those. So I'll probably hand that over to the workshop boys with the 4-poster ramp. They'll probably find it a lot easier, but pretty pleased with it. Given that it's a Friday afternoon in the showroom, it's all looking really even. Measured it up properly, and the Maxton stuff's meant to be the better quality, and it does feel quite firm. So we'll re-photograph that at some point over the weekend, so that obviously it shows on the advert that it's got that Maxton splitter, because the side skirts aren't going to be here for 3 weeks probably. It's not worth waiting that long, so we'll photograph it with the splitter and see if we can get some more attention on it before then. But yeah, it's been a bit of a different week in the sense of not massively busy in terms of the sales. Had a few inquiries come through. Obviously had the Range Rover 4.4 SDV go out at the beginning of the week, and then we sold the Discovery here, the Disco 4 today, which is great news. But thank you ever so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Also got the Range Rover video coming out on Sunday, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one.